Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Adams Brothers podcast. We are live streaming on Facebook and YouTube simultaneously right now. Happy hump day to each and every last one of you out there watching in Facebook and YouTube land. Thank you for joining us. We are joined here this evening with the family of Mr. Stanley Pratt. We're joined here with the mother-daughter duo here, Sage and Sharice Stewart. We'd like to welcome them to the Adams Brothers podcast, and we're going to be talking about the murder of their loved one, Mr. Stanley Pratt, in Atlanta, Georgia, in 2021. So, Miss Stewart and Miss Pratt, welcome to the Adams Brothers podcast.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. So, I kind of introduced you guys a little bit, you mother-daughter, the duo. But before we get started, just go ahead and just tell us a little bit about you and where you live. And you don't have to tell us exactly where you live, but just tell us a little bit about you.
A little bit of background information, so our viewing audience will know.
Okay. All right. Well, we're in Georgia, of course, in Gwinnett County area. And that's pretty much the area where where I live, grew up, at where I met Stanley at. Again, I'm the mother of 3 of his children. I have the 3 oldest. He is a father of 7. And Sage here is our youngest daughter. So she's the youngest out of 3. So yes, and so that's pretty much it. And I met Stanley when I was 18, back in like 95, 96 era. So yeah, kind of aging myself there, but back when it was, the good old Atlanta days, Freaknik time, things like that.
Oh, yes. Oh
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember those days back in the old days, Freaknik, and I never made it to Freaknik, but I think I heard I missed a show. That's all I can say. I never made it there, but you ended up meeting Stanley Pratt there. I'm sure he was a very nice guy. What type of guy was Stanley?
Very outgoing. Stanley was originally from New York, very outgoing, very loud, outspoken, but very cool, very fun to be around. Loved family. He loved his family, loved his kids. And he actually was an only child, but he had a lot of cousins. And his aunts and stuff kind of raised him up, and his grandmother type of situation, because his mother passed away when he was young. So yeah, so he had a lot of women raising him in his background, very strong backbone women. Yes.
Now did Stanley have any other family that lived in the Georgia, Atlanta area besides him?
Yes. So his whole family migrated from New York. So yeah, so like I was saying, his grandmother, aunts, they all moved. When they moved from New York, they all moved down.
Okay. And did you ever, were you and Stanley married, or were you just a couple, or were you just dating in a long-term relationship?
We was just in a long-term relationship. Yeah, never got married or anything like that.
All right. Well, that's all right. Marriage ain't for everybody, so it doesn't matter as long as you're happy. So
that's right.
We have to do what makes us happy, not what society says what we should do. So
right.
So Stanley, did he have a lot of friends that he hung around? Was he pretty much a homebody? Was he more indoors or more outdoors, or a little bit of both?
I mean, he was very outdoor, but he had a small circle. There was he didn't let a lot of people close to him, but he still, he was an outgoing person, especially, you see him outside or whatever. But to be in his home to be close, that's a very close knit. Yeah, that's a close circle.
And what was his occupation? What kind of work did Stanley do?
Everything.
He was a handyman.
Like a handyman?
Yeah, just anything warehouse stuff, mostly things of that nature.
Right.
Okay.
And when you get out and you meet people and you start, you start doing good in life, not everybody is happy for you.
No.
Some people, they don't want to see you happy. And did Stanley have any enemies, or did he have any run-ins with anybody out in the neighborhoods, any fights, or did he date the same female as some other guy? Do you know? Do you remember?
Well, what I know about him is, of course, like we say, he's from New York, so he has this strong personality, very outgoing spirit. Some people can't handle a strong personality and a strong-minded person. So, of course, he had run-ins with people. I don't want to put him in a bad light, but he had a record. Went to jail a couple times. For the aggression and stuff like that. So yes, it was his regular run-ins with people. I mean, everybody have them.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt.
We've all had run-ins with people.
Right.
Most of us have gone to jail, and if we haven't gone to jail, well, you got trust me, we came close. We've been
right.
A lot of times. I know I've never been to jail, but it's a lot of times that I was just right there.
Could have happened though.
It could have went the other way. Thank God that it didn't. But
yeah,
I heard you mention that he's from New York.
Yeah.
And did he before he moved to the Atlanta area, did he have any friends, or did he have any run-ins with anybody in the New York area?
No, it wasn't anything like that.
Okay.
I think his family just really, because of the area that they lived in, just wanted to kind of get away, get a fresh start. So that's how they just all winded up moving here to Georgia.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And so he moved to Atlanta, and got his
was a handyman.
Doing some occupation. He met you, and you all were in a long-term relationship, and
he's kind of a social person.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Love to have fun.
Right. Love to have fun.
Because you know how we are when we get to those spades and card games. We can get a little loud when it comes to that. Yeah. So we know about that. Right.
Yes.
So somewhere along the line, you and Stanley you split up, and you went your separate ways.
Yeah.
And Stanley eventually, let me back up a little bit. So when you all split up, Stanley was still active in the kids' lives?
Well, actually, no, because when we split up, I moved to Pennsylvania. I'm originally from Pittsburgh. So when we split up maybe just a few years, 3-4 years or so after that, I ended up moving to Pennsylvania. Now, at the time when me and Stanley were first in the beginning of our relationship and towards the end, he really wasn't it was like working off and on. It wasn't like we didn't have a very good, I can't say we had a very healthy relationship. But other than our 3 children, of course, but, things got, we weren't on good terms when I moved from Georgia to Pennsylvania. And because of that time, during that time, he also wasn't working, like I said, he was going very off and on about working. So I was the main, breadwinner basically in the home, just raising our children. And then once I moved back to Pennsylvania, that's when he ended up getting into a relationship with the mother of one of our, their younger siblings. Younger sibling, yeah.
Okay, and would that be Centeria, CC?
No, so the children that CC has is not Stanley's.
Okay. All right. So after you all broke up, you moved back to Pennsylvania, and he remained in the Atlanta area. And
yes, but In Gwinnett County. So I was gonna say that's what he's mainly lived in Gwinnett County. He only got to the Atlanta area after meeting CC. And that's when he basically started staying in that area. But Stanley was in the Gwinnett County area from the very first time I met him up until his death, really.
Okay. So he lived in the Gwinnett County area, and fast forward, I guess he somewhere along the line he met his next girlfriend, Centeria CC Fields,
right?
41 years old, and they started dating, and I guess they eventually moved in together.
Yeah, so my daughter would know, because she was there most of the time, for the most of the time with them.
So it was I wouldn't say he moved there. He stayed there a couple nights. He was really back and forth. It wasn't like an all-time move there, but he did have a key. So, I guess you would be able to say that. They started dating. They probably have been dating for like a couple of months to a year, maybe a year or less, when he was staying there.
Okay. So they lived together, and Stanley would go over and stay a few nights, a week, and spend some time with Miss Fields.
Yes.
And just do the boyfriend girlfriend thing, and how you said they were together for about a year?
Yes. Or I wouldn't really put a time. I know it was either a year or less. But then around that time, that was when I known that they was together. After 2021, I really don't know how long they've been together when they, passed away. But I've been over there about 4 or 5 times with my little sister, so I would say, yeah.
All right. And then, and if you know, do you know if Miss Fields was, before she met your dad? Do you know if she was dating someone prior to him?
No, I'm not sure. She has the little girl. She was I think she was 6 when it happened. So I'm not sure if she was in a relationship for long with her daughter's father or not. So I wouldn't really know, besides, past my dad.
Okay. So we will want you, what we want you to do now. I know he's went over, we've just the background, unless Daryl got some more questions.
No, I was just leading up to the actual if you're just joining us, we're joined here with Sage Pratt and her mother, Cherie Stewart.
Miss Cherie Stewart.
They live in the Atlanta, Georgia area, and they're Sage's father and Cherie Stewart ex-boyfriend Stanley Pratt was murdered in Atlanta, Georgia in 2021, and it's a cold case.
December 18th.
December the 18th. Yeah. So I guess Stanley, he was a smoker. He smoked cigarettes.
Right. Yes. Right.
And his normal habits, most people don't like for you to smoke in the house. So
right.
Would it be normal for him to go in and out of the house and smoke or have him a cigarette on the front porch or the back porch in the backyard?
And you would have known that, to be able to,
you would have had to know.
You would have known
his, like that,
and you would have known in his routine to be going out to smoke his cigarettes.
Right.
Okay, now what I would like for you to do is tell us what happened and how you found out. Tell us, Daryl let you into the background, but tell us what happened on December 18, 2021, and how did you find out?
Well, I was taking a nap.
At the apartment?
No, I was sleeping here at my mom when I was living with my mom. I was asleep in my room when I woke up to the news, so she would be able to tell you how the phone call that she received.
Yeah, so I got a call from his cousin who was contacted by one of his associates, saying that I guess this person was a mutual, knew both Cece's family and Stanley's cousins to be able to. They got a call from Cece's family. He got a call from Cece's family about it, and so they reached out to us, Stanley's family, to tell us. So it was more of Cece's family reaching out to an associate to get us the news. And then his cousin called me to tell me.
Okay. And when the police called you, what did
I didn't
they
get a
tell
call
you?
from the police, though.
Okay.
I got a call from Stanley's cousin.
Cousin, right.
Okay.
Yeah, to tell me, yes.
Okay. And what did, at the time, the limited information that they knew, what did they tell you? What happened? And did you eventually get a call from the Atlanta Police Department? And can you elaborate on what was that call pertaining to?
Yeah, so I didn't get a call from the police department. I actually just, reached out to them. But once, Stanley's cousin just called, told me that the only thing that she knew at the time was that, he was killed. Him and Cece were both killed at the apartment. And, she just said that she got a call, like I said, from the person that was like a mutual associate of both of them. So she was like, I don't have much information, but this is what they said. So eventually I just kind of ended up finding the police, the Atlanta Police Department, contacted them. I just at that time, they didn't tell me anything. They didn't have the information. I just had to give them my, number, my name, and I told them who my loved one was. And, I had just found out. They just said somebody reach out to me. And then that's when later on that evening, I got the phone call from the first detective, the initial first detective, I guess, because it's not the same one. So the first detective that initially handled the case.
Okay.
And do you remember who that detective was? The name?
Detective Johnson.
Johnson.
Okay, Johnson. And Shepard came later, correct?
Right. After many, many, many emails, calls I sent out to them, I kind of just started CCing everybody on my emails at the Atlanta Police Department until finally I got an email and a call back from Detective Shepard.
Detective Shepard.
Detective Shepard.
Okay, so when you got a call back, I'm sure that somewhere along the line they ask you about your relationship with Stanley.
Yes.
Yeah. They always ask that as part of the investigation.
Yeah.
They always, they always look at family. That's who they always look at, those close to the murder victim.
Right.
Right.
And did you have to go down to the police station to give them a statement, or did they come to you?
So we all went down there because of course they did tell us about the video. So initially that was the first thing that, we wanted to come down and look at the video to see if we could, determine who the person was, or look, have an idea or get an idea of who the person is. So they did have us come down, and that was even with the first detective, with Detective Johnson. That's when we saw the video back in 2021.
Right. Now I saw the video. I watched it earlier. Was that a home security camera, or was that a Ring doorbell? Did he have his own security camera inside the home?
Yeah, she just had the camera, like your
okay, like a webcam.
Like a blink, something like that. Yeah.
Well, it was clear. It was clear. It was crystal. The clarity was good.
Right.
You could see
what you needed to see.
The gentleman, it looked like one or two guys. It was either one or two.
Well, that's her son. Yeah, her son was in the living room sleeping on the
sleep. Okay.
he woke up to the gunshot, so he was running away from the shots.
And how is he doing, dude?
Right.
By the way, before we get past it, how is the son? If you know how is he doing?
Sorry,
that has to be
but
tough.
if they are watching, we think about her son and her daughter all the time. So we do hope. Yeah, we just our condolences to them, and we are going to find justice for their mother.
Yeah, I've been around multiple times, so
my
I
daughter
really like to know
she
how
watched them. She was there. She babysat them. You know, for Stanley and see. You know, so. Yeah, she even has little videos of them from back when she used to watch them
and everything.
So so we prayed for them, and we so we're going to find justice for their mother.
Yeah, because I think if the 11-year-old had not been asleep, I believe he might have been the third victim.
I don't know. I just pray. I'm glad that they weren't injured at all. I'm sad that they had to even go through this trauma like that. That was just traumatic.
Yeah,
I was talking with someone earlier today, and we were just talking about this case, and we was talking about the trauma that the 11-year-old must have right now to this day.
Right.
I know he's very traumatized, and I hope he got some type of counseling for that.
And looking at that video, you can see Stanley run from the outside of the house back to the inside, and it looked like he was holding his head. I guess he had been shot somewhere in the head.
He was
shot in the
face. Right.
Yeah.
And whoever the murderer is, followed him to the room. If I'm not mistaken,
but even like seconds after, so he knew exactly where to go. He went right in and went directly to that room.
Because if you can see in the camera, it's like you see the hallway light when my dad comes in, but then you see the door closes, which means you wouldn't really see where my dad ran to. You know what I'm saying? So if you was right behind him, so he had to come in the door again, open the door again, and then run directly into the room, which means he definitely knew that layout of the house.
Yeah,
right.
Yes,
right.
He was there almost 2 hours prior to the shooting. From the one camera that this apartment had outside of their building, you see a silhouette of someone, a dark figure over in the woods, roughly in like almost 2 hours before the shooting, before Stanley came outside. He's over there. Yeah,
like squatting down.
Yeah, that's just in the front.
Yeah,
the camera's in the back, so you couldn't really see where he came from. You just see that it came from the back of the building.
So this guy actually stalked him.
Yeah, exactly.
Until he came, watched home, stalked him, and when he came out to have a cigarette, he carried out the execution.
Yes.
Yeah. Because, like you say, he was there waiting about 2 hours prior.
Yes.
Because I remember
he just knew in his head, like, yes, I know he's gonna come out at this time to smoke this cigarette, and then that would be my time. Like, it was like that.
Yes.
Yeah. So that happened around 7 a.m. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was around 7 a.m. If I'm correct.
Yes.
So the guy had to be out stalking at least 5 a.m. in the morning.
It was still dark out. That's why you can't really see him from that camera. You just see that darker figure over on the side. You can't make him out, but yes, you see, and then you see him coming at to meet with Stanley right as Stanley finished his cigarette. So he threw the cigarette and then turned around to go back down the hallway, the walkway to the apartment. And this was a first floor apartment. So he walked back down the walkway, and that's when he came and shot him in the face and then followed.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, let me go back to the room. He chased him in the house. He apparently shot him once outside in the face, and then Stanley ran in the house, and the door shut, and then the suspect came behind him and went to the room like he knew where he was going, And that is where I believe Centeria CC Fields was in that room as well.
Right. Right.
So he went in and he, I guess, apparently finished the job with Stanley that he set out to do, and CC was probably sleeping.
Collateral damage, basically.
Yes,
Right.
in the video, you can't in the video that the police department showed, you can't hear the audio, but when we heard the audio, you can like hear like her trying to figure out why but he can't talk because he got shot in the face.
Right.
She's trying to see like, oh, what happened? You can hear her like, what happened?
Like
what's wrong? Like you can hear her asking him
trying to figure out what happened, and then that's like seconds later. That's when it got, and then she screams.
Yeah.
Right. So apparently that's when the suspect shot her.
Yeah.
Right.
And the guy had a mask on his face, correct?
Yeah, one of those a hoodie.
Right.
A hoodie and a
shiesty
mask.
So to me, that's someone who's hiding his face.
Yes, he knew
that kind of tells me or the police that maybe that's someone he knew.
He knew.
Yep.
Yes,
and they'll be able to recognize him or the kid,
Yeah.
or even the kid.
Right, and he wanted to conceal his identity, and usually when stuff like that happens out, and I'm not a cop. My son is a cop, but I'm not a cop. But I'm police officers running our family, and when things like that happen, I think one has to think, or a detective, or has to think that maybe the person that did the shooting either used to date that female, or they had a run-in with that male somewhere out in the street somewhere.
The guy looks young.
Connection.
He looks very young. I mean, if you look at the video of the assailant as he runs in there, that person looks like they're at least, I would say, between the age of at least 18 and probably 26 or 26 or 27, I would say. But also, I wanted to ask you all, did police say, or do police think the murderer knew that Miss Fields and the 11-year-old was in the house?
Well, they said that they do think that they were, that whoever did this, we believe, and so did the police, like they knew exactly who would be in the house. Like they
knew who all lived there.
They knew. There wasn't no surprise. It wouldn't have been a shock to them.
They probably didn't know that he would be sleeping on the couch because they had rooms. There's 2 other rooms. They had separate rooms for the boy and the girl, but they knew he'd be home.
Right. And that's what I was trying to.
It's a Saturday morning. It's Saturday. It's a week before Christmas.
So it's winter break. Where else are they going to be right now besides with their family? It's about school's out, It's Christmas break.
Yeah, because it was December 18th.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
that had to be tough on your family right before Christmas.
Right before Christmas.
And my dad's birthday
is on the 29th. So just all of that. So that was it was really hard.
Yeah.
So that killer. Hard. So the killer was really unrepentant killer. But the thing that struck me is when he came, I know he shot Mr. Pratt outside in the chin. I was like, I'm just trying to figure out why he just didn't do what he needed to do right then.
That's what we're wondering. I know. We do. Those are questions that we have been asking, just
because in my head it's what if okay, he did end up getting the shot, but then what if my dad came in and locked the door, like, you know what I mean, like what if it was just that fast and he locked the door, then what would he had done at that point, run, or would it have been that serious that he needed to kick down the door, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Think about that, because we're like, but at the time, he was so, I can imagine, just being shot and then frantic and then not, thinking about locking the door, just trying to get away, or just trying to get some help. But for that's what I said, for this person, they came just right in.
Yeah,
I mean,
and they caught him off guard, and it was when he
Yeah,
was
I
shot.
mean,
I'm
yeah.
quite sure it was a traumatic. It happened so quick; it was traumatic.
right,
You know,
right.
I know we can sit and think, well, why he didn't lock the door? But no, when someone pulls, I've been robbed before, and I had that gun right in my face, and I had my gun right on my side, but my gun was right there, and I couldn't pull my gun because he had the gun right to my head, and I know how traumatic that was. So,
Right.
I mean, I know people will say, well, why didn't he lock the door? Number
We
one, he
keep
was
been
shot in the
thinking, I mean,
chin.
yeah, that's the first. Like I've cried over that many a times. Like, you know, would you still be here if you? But then, like, who knows? Like, we don't know that. We don't know, and I couldn't even imagine even being in that position at that time. I mean, I'm just standing outside smoking a cigarette, turning around to go back in on a normal Saturday morning.
Yeah, I just opened my eyes. Thank God that I just opened my eyes, just for them to not, just for me to not see it today. Like, it just, that wouldn't have been in my head. So locking the door was the last thing on his mind, I'm sure.
Right. Now let me ask you this question. This was obviously around 7 a.m. on Saturday morning, December the 18th. Did Stanley go out anywhere the night before? Did he go hang out with his friends, his boys? Did he just leave? And, I'm trying to see if anything led up to what happened on that Saturday morning.
Well, we had a story floating around.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like Friday night. Yeah, the Friday night he was at home. From the camera, of course, like we said, Cece has the camera there. So Friday night, Stanley was at home with a friend, just chilling, watching TV and having drinks and stuff like that. And that person left around midnight or so.
Well, if you want to share that story as much as you can, if you feel comfortable sharing whatever that story that Sage was saying.
No, I was just saying, she was saying, because we got a story saying that, that there was someone that Cece was seeing, and they believed that this person was stalking them, and they were calling Stanley and Cece's phone that whole Friday night.
And giving Cece an ultimatum,
like pick
him
or
my dad
me or whatever, like that type of situation. That's what we had gotten. But as of right now, that story has never,
the police went through their phones and didn't find
anything like that.
No nothing, like no jealous boyfriend, no nothing.
Right.
No phone calls blowing up.
Phone calls that was coming back and forth to their phones that whole Friday. Like, that story, we could never corroborate that story.
So those were just unfounded allegations. People were just.
And you'll get a lot of that in murder investigations like that. You will see so many people. You will see so many stories from the streets, but those people will never go, even anonymously sometimes, and tip the police off about what they really know. They'll float those type of things around in the streets. So we see that all the time. But if you can share, what theories do the Atlanta Police Department have? If you can share that, if you choose to share.
They don't. They just tell us that it had to be somebody close. That's just in a close circle. I mean, and yet we have a few suspects too in our head, people, because like I said, for you to be in that space, for you to know that space, you had to be there. And Stanley is not in Atlanta all the time for him to have met a whole bunch of people to have been in there. Cece, I know, wouldn't have allowed a whole, just random people. So these are close people that had to have known them.
Because my dad had friends back then, but it wasn't current friends now. Like, he only really hung around a handful of people, and he wouldn't bring them to that space with her kids. Like, they wouldn't come over there. Like, it wasn't his space to be inviting people over. So he wouldn't have went that far to do it.
So,
and what kind of neighborhood is that where CC and Mr. Stanley Pratt was living? What kind of neighborhood is that?
I mean, looking from the outside, it was fine. Like the people seemed like they, had jobs, had something to do with themselves. Nobody was really loitering around outside the times that I went there. It seemed
Middle
seemed
class?
fine. Yeah, like it seemed
Middle
pretty
class neighborhood.
nice outside, and the brick apartments. Like they were nice. They were nice.
Yes. Yes.
Right. Now, whoever the killer is, of course, my thing, and I'm trying to think like a cop, even though I'm not a cop. Well, I mean, he had to know where they lived.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
He had to know he's either been there before, or someone told him where they live, or he found out some kind of way that he had been. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. So
he's been there
to me, that person, the killer, has been there before.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I guarantee you, he knew Stanley.
Absolutely.
He was on the
knew him.
first floor. He knew it was that first door he had to go to. He knew
Yep.
he didn't have to go up no stairs.
Yeah,
like
right.
he knew what side of the building to come from around, because the other side, it would have been too far from that door. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was very premeditated. He'd been there. He knew the layout, everything.
Right.
Yeah.
And once the shooting, he carried out the shooting. When he went outside, were there any cameras in the neighborhood that caught this person, the suspect?
Well, we know the one that caught him squatting down.
Any ring doorbells or anything?
Right. So unfortunately, there was a ring camera for the person that lived across the hall from CC, but she no longer lives there. And if anybody knows her, or if she's watching or anything, I would urge, like, please share that information from December 18th of 2021 from your ring camera. She no longer lives there at that apartment, and she moved. I mean, I don't blame her. I don't, blame her, but
right.
there was a lady that lived across the hall from CC that her ring camera would have caught him coming out of the apartment.
Well,
did the detectives ever go there and try to obtain?
Yeah, that's why I said she was already gone. So they Detective Johnson, I guess she went too late.
So the apartment was empty by the time they went back.
She had already moved.
She had moved in within a day or so. Then
she had moved quick.
I don't know. That's kind of why would a person want to move out that quick, though?
She probably had already been accepted. That probably would have been her move out date already.
I don't know.
Or
we don't know.
Right.
Yeah, but got frightened and just left. Right. I'm sure if it was something on the camera,
asked her to just to share if anybody know.
My thing is, if the police officers could have gone down to the
subpoena.
Management office and said, "Hey,
I say
you're the police. Why can't just let us know the name of who this person is?"
It's so much that I question about.
Yeah.
Well,
they can get a subpoena. They can subpoena ring.
Yeah,
right.
I would like that too. I would like for them to find out who it is and to get that information. That would be great. Right.
Again, I'm thinking like a cop, because I'm like, if I'm a cop, I'm going down to management. I'm gonna say, "Hey, I need this.
Right.
If you don't want to give it to me, I'll get a subpoena, and then I need you to tell me who this lady was that lived across the street. What's her name?" And then they can go in the system and then we'll do a cross reference and find out who that person is and pull a driver's license up and everything. And they could if they trust me, if they want to find her, they will find her.
So before the press conference, what kind of job did you think the Atlanta Police Department, and I know they have plenty of other murders that take place, what kind of job do you think they were doing prior to the press conference here a week ago?
Not enough.
Well, yeah, but that was so I would say up until Detective Jones, because up until Detective Shepard, because like I said, I had to keep reaching out to find information. And honestly, I wanted that tape to be out when it happened, but the detective at the time didn't think that it was a good idea and was just stating because he was all black dressed up, that it was going to be hard, things like that. So that I wanted it out. We was like, get it out there from the beginning. I wanted them to release it and to get on it, but that was something that they said no. So after I said of the many times of locating them, once Detective Shepard reached out to me, that was exactly what he said. So I was like, good. Now I feel like we're heading in the right direction. I didn't even have to ask him. He was like, I think we should get this tape out to the public. And I was like, I needed that from the very beginning. Yes, let's do this. Let's get this out.
Sometimes it takes some fresh eyes on the case to get it going. I don't know. It's strange why they wouldn't put the videotape. They had the videotape. Show the videotape to the public. I don't understand these municipalities. And like my brother say, I'm not a cop, but I would think if you have video footage, put the footage out to the public. Maybe it'll jog someone's memory of that day.
Right. We all know people that, like me. Everybody always tells me, "Oh, Daryl, I know that's you. I could tell your walk a mile away." Mm-hmm. You see a person on film, you might know the way they walk or the way they hold their arm, or maybe something that'll give them away. Now, I think that's that person right there. But how would you know that if they don't release the tapes?
Right. I was like, I don't care that he's all in black and you can't tell. Somebody still recognize something.
Exactly.
And you're talking almost 4 years later. I mean,
I know.
It's almost like you're behind the 8 ball now.
Like, where's
just
the
releasing the tape almost 4 years later?
Like I said, even with the lady that was across the hall, like that could have been put out there right then. Like, who knows who the management is in an apartment? I don't know. Like, things have changed in them apartments now. So who knows?
And besides the tape, did you make those concerns known to the detective? I believe his name was Johnson.
That was a female. Detective Johnson was Shepard. Yeah. So Detective Johnson. Yes. And like I said, at that time when the shooting occurred, or the murder rather occurred, I just did not we wasn't getting much from them at all. And I know it too was still kind of considered COVID, the times as well, so I don't know if that played a part in the resources or, what have you. But I hate that it did take this long. But I just pray like this is just finally the justice that we'll get.
Yeah, and one of our viewers, Sabrina J, she actually lives in the Atlanta, Georgia area. She said people can recognize posture. Like I was saying, they can recognize these. Like, people know me. My walk a mile away. If they see me walking on video, if they hear my voice, they were like, "Daryl, that was your voice." Even though they can't see my face, or they could see me walking or whatever. A lot of people can recognize me. So whoever that killer is out there. Again, I don't understand why they wouldn't release the tape, in a timely manner. They wanted to hold on to it and this and that and that. I question a lot of things that these detectives do, and I know they have to do things and they can't release certain information to the public because this will be some information only a killer would know. I get all of that, but the videotape. Why not? It doesn't make any sense.
Especially if that's the only evidence at the moment that y'all have. I don't understand why not. Release it. It's nothing that's really too incriminating in that video anyway. If they're saying he's dressed in all black, so if that's the case, yes.
Was any other similar murders occurred in that area that was very similar in nature? If you might know.
No, I'm not sure. No, I don't believe.
I mean, I know it. It's been the crime rate, in Atlanta during the time, had risen, but this wasn't just random killing. This here, that
was a targeted killing there.
They was personal. They knew. Yeah, they knew.
Yeah.
Did anyone reach out to the police chief, the Atlanta police chief, to try and get some put some pressure on these detectives or the captains or
Yeah,
the
those were all part of my CC people that
Yeah.
went through my email. Like I just looked up all the people who was, their emails, and I just kind of started CCing and copying people. The Atlanta Police Department, I just copied everybody that who I could find that was kind of like of ranks in the police department, and eventually I got a response.
what
Did you
about
reach
the
out to the
city
elected
manager?
officials? Right.
Yeah,
That's
city
what I was gonna
manager and
say.
the elected officials, the mayor, the commissioners.
No, those were going to be next.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What about
And go ahead, Wayne.
what about a reward?
We
Did-
just having a with Crime Stopper. They have a $5,000 reward.
Yes, I
Right.
saw that. I saw the poster, which I put the poster on our Adams Brothers podcast
thank you.
Facebook page, and I also put it on our TikTok page, and I also put it on Instagram.
Right.
Thank
We
you.
we would definitely love to see some closure come to this case one day. How has all of this affected the Pratt family so far? I know it's been almost 4 years now. What has this done to your family?
It's been hard, especially because like I said in the press conference, our dad, he was a trying man. He was trying to do better for himself and by his kids. So I know my siblings and a lot of my other siblings, they had somewhat of a grudge. Like, he wasn't always there. He was there when he could be, did the best he could. So when he did pass away, and some of my siblings didn't really get that bond and was able to talk, mend the problems and understand now that we were older. I know it took a toll, and it hurts, and it's bad. That's your dad, and you want him to be around, and you want him to see you, get married or have your child. I had my first son. It would have been his first grandkid. He wasn't able to meet him or anything like that. So it's just it's the moments in life when you grow up and you realize that you want him to be there, but he can't. So I mean, it's hard. I don't think we'll ever get over it, especially when we have accomplishments that we're still making. We can call and tell our mom, but we can't call our dad and let him know. So it's just losing a parent. That's just hard. That'll be hard on anybody, and that's something that it can't get fixed. You just gotta learn to live with it.
Yeah, it's hard to share those, but you don't. And like she said, about her having a child, so we have our first grandchild, and certain things, even though me and Stanley aren't together, it's just things that you still like to share. Those are still our children, regardless of us not being together. So we still want to be able. You still want to have that person to say, hey, look, look at this, look at your family, just.
And so the investigators that have the case now, because one of our viewers keeps saying the cold case investigators, those investigators now are on the case are cold case investigators,
right.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay.
They're not the original detectives that were assigned to the case 4 years ago?
No, they're not the original.
No, they're not the original. No.
Okay. So if there's any new leads that may pop up, hopefully you get a lot of calls, because a lot of times we do these true crime podcasts here in our area, and the phone calls start coming in.
Yeah.
If you can get 50 people to share this video, just share it around town and post it on your social media platforms. You never know who can see this podcast, and you never know that murderer, that guy that murdered your dad and his girlfriend. You never know. He could have gone on and gotten drunk one night and did some pillow talking with his ex-girlfriend, and now they've broken up.
Exactly.
And now the girl might say, you know what? Now I'm gonna go tell, since you cheated on me, now I'm gonna go tell you killed that man over there. So if there's any new tips, how could they call those tips in? Do you have a tip line number, or do you have a number to the Atlanta Police Department that we could share?
Yes. So
for our viewers that's watching right now,
get I can share Detective Shepard's number, and of course the Atlanta Police Department as well. Just
Yeah.
giving them a call, but yes, I'll give you Detective Shepard's number. Let me look it up really quick.
Yeah, because we definitely would like to talk to Detective Shepard
Yeah, we'd
if
like to
he
give him a call.
if he would want to talk. Like I say, I reached out to the
We'd love for him to call
I
in
reached out to
if
them
he's
the
watching.
other
If
day.
anybody from the Atlanta Police Department is watching right now,
I asked for someone
We'd
from
love
the
to have him call
Atlanta
in.
Police Department to come on, but they responded back. This is what they responded back while you're looking for that number. It said, good morning. Last week, a press conference was held regarding this incident. And it said, please see the link below for further information. That link is posted on our Adams Brothers podcast page. And this information came from the Atlanta Police Department Public Information Officer Jay Predmore. But I did ask for someone to come on and with the family, and obviously they disregarded that. They declined.
No, yeah.
So for the detective's number, Detective Shepard, it is 404-617-3012.
404-617-3012.
Yes.
Yes, and also, what kind of have you all gotten any emotional support from your church, your family, friends, any groups, because I know it's a lot of groups, that sometimes we'll reach out to families of murder victims. Did y'all get any emotional support from them?
So there was actually a group, like a crime victim, a group that they had going with the Atlanta Police Department, that they would set up like a Zoom for once a month. They would send out an email to, have people from like families of crimes that, victims or murders that have occurred in Atlanta. But that stopped, I want to say in like 2023. So since then, there hasn't been any. So, just us as a family, and of course our extended family and things like that.
And after the press conference, one of CC's friends actually did reach out to me and my mom to try to help and give us some information that she knew, but she didn't have a way to contact us, until the press conference. So she did give her condolences and let us know some of the information that she has. So we thank her for that.
Yeah. How about the local media? Did you get any like calls from the local media, or sometimes they like to do these recreations of the case? Did y'all get any calls from the local media or any type of media?
I would say after the press conference is kind of when a couple of reporters had kind of walked up to us or wanted to get in contact for future references for them to be able to ask us questions and things like that. But I don't think that they really wanted to bombard us like that right after the press conference. But since then, I haven't received any.
Right.
Yeah, I haven't received any calls or anything.
No,
like that.
I had like I think it was like Channel 11 that mentioned that they have some segment that they do regarding like cold cases and things like that. And she just, basically just asked for my number, said that she would like to, pass it on to their producer of that segment. So that's pretty much all, but I haven't received anything other than that.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you too, because we have some connections to some of those crime shows that you see on ID Discovery. And I think your case your Mr. Pratt's and Miss Fields case fits that criteria to be on ID Discovery. And if I just want to know, would it be okay if when I reach out to someone that I can share your information with me?
Yes, please.
Yes.
We need this. We need it solved. I don't even, I mean, I know a lot of people say closure. I can't really even say closure because it's like, it's a wound that don't close, this is forever open. We just want justice. We want somebody to serve, jail, whatever. We just need somebody caught. We want this person. Yes, we want them, and we want to know why. We need to know why they went in there and they took these two precious souls away from us. Why? Cece had 2 children in that home with their son just laying right there on the couch with Christmas tree. The Christmas tree is up, stockings is up. It's Christmas time. Like, you went in there and you took these 2 people away from their family. And we just need to know why. Like, what was that serious? Yeah, what was that serious?
That you lied in wait and you really carried this out. You didn't no food, no water.
Like you sat
just
there.
Sat there.
Like you sat there. That was premeditated. You had plenty of time to decide not to do this.
Those were some of my questions too. I was going to ask you when the killer or killers are apprehended, what is justice to your family, to each one of you? I know that's a question to Miss Cherie and Miss Sage. Separate question. What would justice be like for both of you, in your own opinion?
What would you like to see happen to that killer?
To them? Death.
Yeah, I hate to wish death on somebody, but my dad isn't here no more. You being in jail, you're still alive. You get to wake up every day. Your family can see you. Your family can call you. You're just your eyes being open every day is a blessing that you should not have. From the simple fact that you decided to create in your mind that it would be okay to take a life, and you feel no guilt or no remorse that's eating you up inside that makes you want to tell on yourself. Like you're not feeling none of that. So I don't feel like he should go to jail. I feel like that's too easy. Jail is too easy.
Yeah,
Miss Cherie?
The same. I do. I feel the same way. You can't take 2 lives like that and then just think that you're going to be able to live the rest of yours out. Like, no, I don't think it's right at all.
What my opinion is that the state of Georgia, if apprehended, whoever was involved, I think the state of Georgia should put that person to be executed. That's just my opinion. I believe in the death penalty. I go to church. We're in church every Sunday. As I was telling Sage, we work in our church every Sunday, but I believe, in my opinion, that case is no doubt, without a question, a death penalty case. And the state of Georgia, if that person is convicted, the state of Georgia should carry that execution out, hopefully within 5 to 10 years.
Yes.
That's just my opinion.
Like our cousin said on the press conference, just get them before somebody else do. Eye for an eye. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody. It has to be consequences to your actions, and this was a big action, so you need a big consequence.
Do you all feel that when you go out in public that you always have to kind of like watch over your shoulder sometimes?
Yes. I mean, it's not even a watch over my shoulder because I feel like they're coming after, but it's just that you never know what happens. My dad sat there and went out and smoked a cigarette. That's regular routine. Like it can happen at any moment. You just never know. So I feel like every day you have to, live your life and look over your shoulder because you just never know. You never know what's your fate.
Do you share your location with each other when you leave the house? With your siblings, do you all share your locations?
That's good.
My mom knows. I talk to my mom every day, maybe 4 or 5 calls a day. I talk to my siblings. I'm on social media, so if there's ever a time where I'm not, you immediately know something's wrong because I'm only 22 years old, so I'm very social. I'm very out there. I'm this is my best friend, so she hears my voice every day. I have her grandson, so she talks to her grandson. It's a lot of things that we go over. It's precautions. Like if I ever feel like I need to, my mom will have my password. Like just anything like that. Like it's really hard and it's tough out here and it's scary.
And
that was one of my questions I was going to ask. What just what you just answered it. What type of mental strain has it left on you and your family? That was one of my questions I was going to ask.
Because it's different when it's close to home. You never really think about these kind of things until it's until it's real close to home. Then you really get to thinking like like anything can happen. I just talked to my dad that week, but before we had gotten had a little couple words because that's my best friend at the end of the day as well. So we get into it like brother and sister. But so you just never know what's your last conversation with somebody. Like that's a very scary feeling. Like, and sometimes you just always wish that you said a little more in that conversation, or you said things differently, or you went to go see that person or give that person a hug, or tell them you love them 1,000 times, but you don't think about that stuff until after it happens. But that's the sad part about it.
Yeah, definitely it is, and I felt that way too, especially when the time at his passing, just because I had actually got married that year. I got married in October, and he passed, and this murder came in December. So I always talk about our last conversation, of us talking about me, how I was getting married, and just the happiness that he had for me, because my husband, I met my husband almost 20. I've known him for 20 years. So he was somebody that he knew as well, had already been in our lives for so long. So he was, just to share that happiness, to be able to, just to celebrate, that occasion of me getting married, and just the next step of our lives, just even though we were still going on separate roads, it was just good to celebrate each other. And we were in just that good space to be able to celebrate. Our kids are, adults, they're, growing up. And like Sage was saying, he was just now starting to get back into his kid's life, wanting to get involved and to be there. And, they just snatched up, they just snatched them up, way too soon. Just way too soon. And the same for the kids, like I said, he took in their lives away, took their future, just changed their whole future.
How was this funeral like? It's
very sad.
How was that like?
It wasn't exactly how you would want to see your loved one, but I guess Atlanta did the best they could. I guess.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. It was a sad time. Of course, it was so unexpected. Like I said, the time of the year. This is supposed to be a happy occasion, time celebration. His funeral was right after the New Year. So it's like. And of course, the death occurred right before Christmas. So trying to go through these holidays, everybody around you is celebrating and happy and, cheering. And, we're sad, we're crying, we're trying to plan a funeral, we're trying to figure out what happened. We're just going through so many different emotions. So it's just hard.
How is that time of the year now when that Christmas roll around, or right before Christmas? How is it now to you and your family right now?
Visiting the gravesite.
It is. And then we visited twice, on the death day and his birthday is just right after. So we try to stick together, probably do a balloon release, or we go out to dinner. But it's every time we always, try to get together and celebrate him, because if you knew my dad, he would definitely celebrate himself. So we try to do that not even try. We do that every year, and I'm going to continue to do it every year.
Do you all have any security cameras where you live, and do your siblings have any security cameras where they live right now?
That's good.
We all have security cameras.
Yes,
and
then he do have younger children, so they're minors, so they are still living with their parents.
Yes.
The parents.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And especially for you have sisters, Sage. Especially for the sisters and the brothers too. And if you make it a habit, if you get into a relationship, take a picture of the guy and send it to your family members, and take a picture of his car plate.
Yeah,
Get
yeah.
the tag on his car and send it. Hey, I'm going out with this person here. If you don't see me, that's the last person I'm with. Kind of get into a habit of doing things like that. It might not be anything, you know what I'm saying? But if something does happen, you got to start right here. Share your location. Where you are, and I know you're already doing that, and that's a good thing to do too.
Murder changes
my
you.
brother, I know my brother. He's starting to, he's a very anti-social introvert. So I know that now he's starting to, get out and go out. He's 23, so he doesn't really like to hang in that, type of crowd. You know what I'm saying? But so I always make sure I share. I have my brother's location, because him just being a black man in America, I just never know, like. So wherever he goes, I always tell him to let me know who's he around. Like I'm like the mama of the siblings. I'm the youngest, but I'm definitely like the mama of the siblings. I need to know where y'all at, who y'all with, who the parents. I need to know everything. Like yes.
Yeah. Murder changes everything about a family, which a lot of families don't understand. Sometimes, to this day, I will not come in my house and go to sleep until I check every room in the house.
Lock the doors,
under the bed, the closets, and I have my Glock 40 caliber right in my hand when I'm checking those closets and rooms out. And it leaves that scar on you, which it changes you, and that's what a lot of people will never understand, and I hope they never have to understand that feeling.
Nobody wants to be in a parking lot. You got to turn your back every week that you're looking, or you got to open your car door, but you knew your car doors was locked, but you still got to check your back seat to make sure that nobody's there. When you're getting in, you got to check your surroundings. Like it's a lot. It's a lot.
That Glock 40 be right in my hand when I'm doing that too. Trust me.
Well, we don't want you all to ever give up hope, because as we spoke on before we went live before this broadcast, that our sister was murdered right here in Deerfield Beach, Florida. My senior year in high school. She was dumped side the road. She was 4 months pregnant. She was murdered. Her unborn child was murdered, and she had a son with her. And it was 40 degrees outside here in South Florida, and they took the little baby and they murdered her and dumped her side the road, and took the baby and put it on a lady's doorstep across town with nothing but a t-shirt and a diaper on. So
don't give up hope.
Don't give up hope. It went unsolved for 27 years.
Yeah,
but
long time.
Never ever give up hope.
I told Sage
put that pressure on. Keep that pressure on those detectives.
Please. Let them get mad at you.
If you have to go down there, if you have to call a television news station, the newspapers, get on the podcast, do everything, because they don't want that negative attention, basically do your job. Not saying that they aren't doing the job, but just
step it up a little bit.
Keep the pressure on them, because if you don't keep that pressure on them, they're gonna think like, well, the family don't care. So when we get around to this case, we'll get around to it.
Right.
So
and you're his voice. You're his voice, and also Miss Fields too. I mean, she was a victim. She was a victim too. I know we keep saying Stanley, but Miss Centeria, to her family out there, my condolences to Miss CC's family. Big condolences. I mean, it was a sad case, and like I say, when I saw this case 3 years ago, I had grabbed y'all picture, and I was trying to get in touch with y'all 3 years ago, because I wanted, when I saw this, it just made my blood boil when I saw this case here. And so I was glad that I was able to get in touch with Sage. But as my brother said, don't y'all never give up. Y'all continue to keep advocating for the victims. Just don't give up. If y'all have to go around town, I would say get that wanted picture, or the picture, the information, Crime Stoppers picture, and I would say go around and find any business that y'all can and just make copies and ask them, can y'all put that picture up? I know it works because I did it from what my brother was saying, and I used to just go and I would go take it to a business, and I would pull up there and I would just sit back from a distance and I would watch how many people come up there, and I would watch everybody come up there and they talking to each other about that. And I would say that would be one tool that you all can do. Just get some of those Crime Stoppers photos and just plaster them around as many places
and share
in
that video.
in that Gwinnett County area, in that Atlanta area.
Share the video if you have it. If you have that video, original video, share it. Share it. Give it to all your friends and tell them to share it. We're gonna share it on our page here as well.
Yes.
And what we'll do is we'll tag the Atlanta Police Department in the post too. And
if y'all find out anything in the future, say you got my number, y'all got my email, y'all got my email.
Yeah.
Please, if y'all find anything, if y'all find out, we would love to definitely have y'all back. I hope that, I pray to God that we have y'all back under different circumstances. I believe in my heart of heart, someone out there know who killed Stanley Pratt and Centeria Fields. Someone out there knows the truth is right there in that Gwinnett County area, in that Atlanta area, and
in that community.
Y'all make the call. If anyone out there listening, make the call and bring this family some justice. Bring this family some justice. Anyone that's out there watching, don't. I mean, you can see the family has obviously been grieving, and I want to see. I don't like that word closure either. I don't like I know I use it, but I don't like that word when it comes to murder. And
before we let you all go, we have one of our friends, and he's been under the weather now for about almost 10 years now, but he was when I tell you he was a crack reporter, he was a hardcore reporter. He went hard for especially the black community. His name is Elgin Jones. You might see him if you go back and look in the chat. He was a reporter, and he broke the story the night that they made an arrest for our sister. He won an award for that story. He sent that story around to CNN, and the phones went crazy here. So Elgin Jones says, introduce themselves to an aggressive reporter that will continue to pursue the case.
Yeah.
Okay.
No doubt.
If you know an aggressive reporter,
yep.
He's a reporter himself, so he knows. He said he's been under the weather. He no longer is active in that field right now, but he knows a lot of people.
He knows what it takes.
Introduce yourself to an aggressive reporter up there in the Atlanta area, and please keep us posted on the progress you all are making up there, and we'd love to have you back on our podcast on a brighter note, with some on an arrest that's been made, and we're gonna keep the pressure on the Atlanta Police Department.
Yeah, we're gonna reach out to Detective Shepard, and like I say, y'all have our contact information. Any leads, please give us a call, and we would love to have you back. But I believe in my heart of heart again that you are going to get justice. I believe it's coming. It's just a matter of, as my brother said earlier, it's just a matter of someone trying to make a deal with the police to save themselves. And I believe it might take 10, 15 years, but don't ever give up. That's all I wanted to say. God bless y'all and your family.
We've been talking to Cherie Stewart, the mother, and Sage Pratt. She is the daughter of Mr. Stanley Pratt, who was murdered on December 18th, 2021 in Atlanta, Georgia. Please, we put the number at the bottom of the screen. Please reach out to Atlanta Police Department. Detective Shepard, his number is 404-617-3012. 404-617-3012. Please call in any tips to Detective Shepard, Miss Stewart, and Miss Pratt. Thank you for joining us. And
also, again, condolences to the family of Miss Centeria Fields, who was 41 at the time. Condolences to that family too. I don't want no one to think that we left them out. They're fresh in our hearts and minds too.
Yeah,
Yes,
our prayers
yes.
go out to the Fields family as well.
Yes,
Yes,
justice
yes,
for Centeria,
justice
justice
for
for Stanley.
Absolutely.
Thank
And
you.
that's what we want.
Thank you for having us.
Ladies, thank you all. Thank you, Miss Stewart. Thank you, Miss Pratt. And please keep us posted and come back and talk to us when there's a break in this case.
We
Okay,
sure
we
will.
will.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Y'all have a good night.
Thank you and good
You're
night.
welcome. Good night, ladies. Y'all stay tuned. We'll be back with a pop-up podcast.